Pajamas, you get a start here on Vertigo. Cloud9 on the T side, NiP starting on the defensive side. Good bit of utility picked up here for SSI, and let's see where Cloud9 are sending this one. Multitude of players outside of the B site already.
Plopsky in position as the B site anchor right now. Elsewhere, Shiro's been able to take out Rez early, so already the man advantage for Cloud9, and they're ready to pop onto this bomb site.
Oh, Plopsky goes into the smoke straight away, fighting against nafany, removes him out of the round, and 4v4 already established. Plopsky looking to get a little bit chaotic inside of the smokes. Cloud9 going back and barreling up the A ramp instead.
Shiro's gained so much ground on that site. Esatag may have a nade. They have two nades, in fact, but they're going to have so much control on the site.
Interz looking
Here come the nades.
Throw it on in. Interz trying to get the bomb down, but the nades come in and remove him from the play. A lot of damage going back and forth, but the bomb is now loose and it's on the other side of the boxes. NiP picking up the kills. It's just Axel left alone. He's coming in from the elevator side. 40 seconds left. And they're on the other side of the default boxes. Smoke up, a little bit of a gap for Axel to try and spot through, but there's been a short maneuver as well. Axel's decided a bomb plant is a must in this round, and slipping away with that bomb isn't too bad at all, because if you get this bomb down, even if you lose the round, it confirms a force buy opportunity in the next at a minimum.
That's already a big dub, but you have to assume there's no way he can win this. He's going to play forward, try and play for frags, but NiP are going to run him down.
Well, Axel gets removed, taken out, and NiP will have the first round. And we'll see how that force buy comes in for Cloud9.
You should expect that to come through, but a nice setup from NiP. Despite losing a lot of ground towards the A bomb site, despite losing a player early, that double nade stack is something that Cloud9 simply did not expect. And as soon as these nades land on the site, that's when it's going to start to be a concern, because there's no utility for Cloud9 to be able to get onto the site safely. So the players have to try and scramble to get the bomb back, but it allows NiP to stop them from getting behind that default box. Here is that force buy coming in from Cloud9, and the weaponry isn't ideal. They've gone instead more heavily into the utility here. And we heard the desk talking about how they don't really think Cloud9's utility usage has been too effective so far this event. So we've got to see that change in this one, considering Cloud9 have gone heavily into the nades. This is a risky position from Plopsky. He is fully committed to the B stairs.
Yeah, he's very committed. Starts to try and rattle a few shots off into Axel, takes him out. Ooh, would have loved to double up, but luckily Brolin had doubled up with his teammate in position. Gets the trade almost instantly for NiP. Hobbit boosted, waiting for aggression to come in from ZTR over the top of construction, but isn't coming yet. Brolin's moved deeper into the stairway. nafany was also fixated upon the position Brolin once stood in and ends up not expecting a close spot. So a couple of picks come in for ZTR. There's one player goes down for NiP, and they handle that force buy really well.
Yeah, really solid work there. And I think having Brolin just come back to B so quickly to help Plopsky was the big difference there. Plopsky buys enough time, survives for long enough to allow Brolin to get into a position where he could trade. That just got them off to that good start. They put their right foot forward, Stinko, and they get the round win.
Yeah, then the left one, and
then the left.
Then they were walking like
right
James Banks this morning in the B-roll.
Is that a Dinko walking tutorial right
Yeah,
there?
yeah.
He taught Banks all he knows about walking.
Not quite. Axel getting shredded. Finished off by Esatag with no issue. The NiP side are taking a really solid start to this beginning of this game. And it was interesting to hear the devs talk about how this one could go. And I think, you dive down the storyline of the Cloud9 side. And coming into this competition, it was all about what Cloud9 are going to turn up. What do we think of this Cloud9 roster? And this is the proving grounds for them to show us what they've got. If you drop this series and go out of the competition versus NiP without Hampus, I don't know if that really paints a pretty picture for the future of this roster.
Yeah, this tournament had to be a chance at redemption for Cloud9, and you're going up against a lot of rosters who are having stand-ins, having issues, and just rosters in general that you should be able to beat. So Cloud9 really could be making sure they make it through, and nafany doing work on ramp. We saw him playing aggressive here yesterday. He's already got the opener for Cloud9 in this one.
Yeah, good start. We're going to see nafany be the real problem up towards ramp. And I would expect the tides to turn now that we have got Cloud9 on the buys. Look at Vertigo, it should be a comfortable affair for the Cloud9 side. Like I'm mentioning, they did in their own head about the Furia match. They've come back into the comfortable pick of Vertigo. Start from nafany. We'll see if they are able to turn this into the round win.
Nade's ready to the side, and that's a good nade onto S-Attack. They're going to try and boost over the top of this, but Shiro was wise to it. Smart play to hold for that boost up. All the kills going in favor of Cloud9. They should have this locked in.
Yeah, well, the bomb certainly locked in. NiP realizing no competition to be had in the dying embers of this one, so they start to retreat. Cloud9 will have their first on the board, and I'm loving the fact that nafany is going to be up just doing absolute issues for the side of NiP. He's just a real problem. He continues to be. Yesterday we seen the counter to that was maybe Art on the other side of things, getting in behind him, trying to stop and cancel out some of the effectiveness he can have towards ramp, but it doesn't feel like NiP have the same approach, and they're not going to really be able to deal with it as effectively as we've seen yesterday.
Yeah, the player you would normally say has the most similar style to nafany on NiP would be Hampus, and he's not here right now, so they don't have that same ability for him to be the space creator. It's going to have to be some of the other players who make those sorts of plays. This time it was Rez who was looking for the fight, but nafany wise to his tricks. The was nice.
You don't have the disruptor as Maui, right? You don't have the disruption player of Hampus to really throw a problem in the way of Cloud9. A couple of issues here. Some tech issues will hopefully get resolved as quickly as possible. Seems to be a problem on the NiP side of things, as Rez has left the server, so we can get it back in as quickly as possible. But, you know, looking at this Cloud9 side so far in this competition, Hawker, how have you felt about them?
I think they have been disappointing, you would have to say. I haven't been seeing the dominance I was hoping we would see from them. Obviously, they got off to a good start against Liquid, I believe, but all in all, it's not exactly been a good look for them in that Furia series. I think they had their moments where they were looking competitive, but it doesn't feel like all the pieces are fully in place. It felt like once Furia got the gun rounds out, they looked like the better team. And look, Furia are a solid squad, but I would expect Cloud9 to be able to be really competitive and probably be able to beat a team like Furia.
And would you say the problems are on the T side right now for Cloud9?
It looks like they're having some issues there, especially on Mirage. There were a lot of rounds where they were just heavily reliant on either a single flashbang or just one player taking a lot of space, and that is always a high-risk playstyle to play. I like, though, that we heard from the NiP side in the interview with Rez that they're still hungry at this tournament, even with the stand-in. NiP are kind of just no strangers to stand-ins at this point.
Yeah.
They know how to manage these sorts of scenarios, and I don't know how they do it, Dinko, but they just always seem to slightly exceed my expectations.
They really do. They stay competitive, it feels like, no matter what is thrown at them, and that is a wonderful fact about the NiP side, but you can't help but feeling that they maybe should have expectations for the tournament, given the fact that you look at some of the teams that have also got stand-ins, some of the teams that have had to pull out. We've had last-minute replacements. It does provide a platform for the likes of NiP to make their way through, but this would be one of the biggest tests possible for them on their way to the playoff side of things. So we'll see if Cloud9 can finally stop the Ninjas, who didn't have the greatest starts against Big in the competition. And as pointed out, they did have that recovery match against Complexity, one of the weakest sides here. So a good start for Cloud9. They picked up the advantage. Axel is going to be another talking point for me. His performance yesterday was great here on Vertigo. And he can start to capitalize off of his impact. That could be fantastic. nafany once again grab kitting. Pick tries to get the multi-kill on the ZTR, but couldn't quite muster it.
Looks like nafany could be that key player again to just push NiP back in a lot of these rounds. And now you take a look at the minimap, it feels like NiP are struggling for info, so they decide to peek back into ramp. They'll see that's clear, and S-Attack with that orb in a good position to hold an angle, bring it back to even numbers, and now Brolan's pushed through A ramp, so NiP can rotate 2 to B and be ready to stack this position.
55 seconds, Axel getting boosted up onto the wood at the B stairs.
We need good utility here from Cloud9. They still have 3 full sets.
Well, here they come. That's going to be the generator wall of smokes being set up, the Molotov into its default, and the flash should unleash Axel to move his way forward. So counter utility being thrown down by NiP to give them a bit of a corridor to get closer. And again, the problem of that right-sided smoke. Over the top, Axel goes, tries to find CTR, but S-Attack is going to take him out, and Brolin will take his teammate off the server, thrusting Shiro into the clutch alone, the 1v3. Quick decisions to go back to A, but Brolin's going to hear this out, and NiP will have plenty of time to get back, and Shiro realizes 15 seconds left. He's not going to make it into a competitive position. So AWP on his back, that's the best he can hope for now.
I think in my opinion there, in a 3v3 like that, I would prefer Cloud9 probably to just all commit together in through the B stairs. Because you see the utility to the site was actually pretty solid. It was pretty effective, but it was only Axile who was trying to follow up on that utility. And after such a strong start to the round, NiP able to pull it back, they get the info to stack the site, and then look, it's just Axile trying to go in. No one there to trade, no one there to help. Sure, you have the mid luck, but once the B side of the play has been dealt with, NiP can obviously be wise to that fact. It was always going to be tough for Cloud9 running into a stack, but NiP get the right info, and Cloud9 decide they need a pause.
Yeah, I think they'll be frustrated about that round. You have Axel opening things up, you have nafany following up with a pick, and you still are unable to convert the round. Cloud9 have to talk that one over, settle in quickly. Otherwise, NiP will break their economy in this round. Send them down to the low bar again. They'll be looking at 6 rounds most likely to be picked up for the NiP side, and a 6-1 start on your opponent's map pick. You cannot be bad to that. Here come Cloud9 again. AWP still there for Shiro. AK's out, utility aplenty. We have to see a round win now for them.
Ramp fights have been good for Cloud9 so far. nafany's molly may have missed slightly. As is looking to see if there's an angle available to him. Oh,
he's found every position to dodge the fire that. He's going to stick around and maintain his aggressive stance towards short. nafany hasn't pushed through the smokes. He's still trying to be a problem. And now, ships in the night, but Rez will catch him. nafany down without the pick. Hobbit is quick to trade it out.
No one there to back up Rez, so he has to just take the 1-for-1 trade. Here comes a smoke and nade from ZTR, and that's landed right on Hobbit, down to half health. ZTR's looking for a little one-way over the top of that smoke, but Cloud9 aren't giving him the fight.
Yeah, they have really slapped Hobbit down, haven't they? Shiro. On to set Hobbit up, and he gets aggressive to find Esetai. Another piece of space being made here for Cloud9. They maintain the advantage. They must convert this one.
ZTR will have some assistance. Brolan has rotated over from mid, and he still has a lot of utility. That could be huge to be able to slow down this push from Cloud9.
Yeah, the utility being saved over is great here for NiP, but will it be enough? Shiro pushing forward. Smoke will cut off his information supply. They can't really see anything just yet. He'll have to use some utility himself. Cloud9 begin their execute into the site. The utility being put in place. They're trying to get towards the site safely. 14 seconds left. It could get a bit chaotic here towards the last few seconds here for Cloud9.
Another molly.
But this time goes down. They have to start planting, and there's not enough time. They've lost the round. Oh, Cloud9, they let the time run down. NiP saved the utility, and it's enough to cause a nightmare scenario for C9.
20 seconds left, and NiP still had those 2 incendiaries. They put them both onto default, and even if the bomb plant is still allowed elsewhere on the site, ZTR knows it has to be a plant on this left side, so he sprays through. Hobbit was able to trade, but all you need to do is deny the bomb plant in that position, and NiP do exactly that. You see the celebration from Esetag, realizing ended up being a pretty easy round win.
Yeah, this is the disastrous start that we just mentioned for Cloud9, right? The amount of times we've seen them in their early gun rounds already be in a position where they have the player advantage and unable to convert 2 in a row. And that means their economy is into the bin. No bomb plant either in that round. We'll see how things are shaking out for them over on that side of things. Shiro will be investing into the AWP. Well, he's got that still there. Hobbit with his AK carried on over. But the rest of the sides, you know, this is a problem. You know, you look at the cash you've got, 3K average in the bank. Good luck getting something out of this.
Yeah, it would be nice to see Cloud9 maybe just being a bit more cutthroat in some of these rounds when they get the advantages and letting the clock run down at times. And they're putting themselves in positions where the rounds can get scrappy with little time left on the clock. And that's kind of what NiP want right now. Considering they have the stand-in situation, it's not their map pick, they're very happy for these rounds to get scrappy into the late round where one player can just make a play and actually win them the round outright. if we saw the execute a little sooner, maybe Cloud9 would have been okay.
Well, clearly we're getting some issues sorted for Brawl, and he's going to get a new headset switched in and out. We're going to back in the server as soon as possible to resume the action. And this could be worse for the Cloud9 side in terms of their start. You look at the rest of the series, Hulk. How do you feel about the map shaking out for Cloud9 down the line?
Overpass will be an interesting proposition because that's just a map that NiP always enjoy playing, and it's also one where you would say the utility is arguably most important for just getting map control and for being able to close the distance. So I feel like NiP have got a pretty decent choice there on their map pick. Cloud9's utility has been pretty good here on Vertigo, though. It's just been the way they followed up on it hasn't been too effective so far.
Yeah, they've been getting into positions where they get the advantages. They've been getting into positions where they're competitive in the early round, but it's being able to convert those into the round wins has eluded the Cloud9 side so far. And what you usually ask of them is the fact that, you get nafany getting picks from his ramp antics. You get Axel cracking open sites, but you have had that. The time management has been a little weak so far for the Cloud9 boys.
I still can't get over the stat that Maui brought up on the desk. That Essetag alone has more flash assists at this tournament than all of Cloud9 put together.
That is ridiculous, isn't it? That really is. I think that was also cancelled out by the by Yanko saying, they play complexity. Sure. I suppose that could be something you could look into. But yeah, let's take a little walk down the lane of NiP's path to this point, because we got to see Cloud9 both times, but we didn't get to see NiP at any point throughout the competition here on the A stream. They started their affair versus Big. Didn't go so well for the NiP side in that matchup as they took to Ancient. Big had been practicing. We heard Tamsin say in an interview we did with James Banks about how they've been prepping a lot of Ancient ahead of this event, and they seen that ZTR was standing in for Hampus, and they wanted to pick it into NiP to really test the Ancient and see what's going on. There was a good convincing victory. NiP got a few rounds towards the end that maybe made the scoreline look even slightly more respectable at the 16-10, but wasn't a fantastic showing from the NiP side. They got the recovery mission versus Complexity, who were, let's be real, one of the weakest performers here at this event, if not the weakest performer. And so you're looking at that roster, and it's not exactly a big scalp to take for the NiP side, but it's certainly a team that they had to go through and can maybe give them a bit of confidence as they head into their first huge test in the best of 3.
We get a timeout taken by NiP here ahead of the pause from the short break we had. That's a chance for DGL to talk to his troops. I think DGL has been so important for this team coming in as the coach. We heard a lot of talk at the end of last year about how NiP were having some issues strategically, and DGL has been a huge part of why they've been able to sort that out. So I'm sure his input will be very valuable. We are back onto the action now. NiP off to a good start, but Cloud9 have been competitive. They've been close in these rounds. They just need that killer instinct to get some of these over the line.
Hobbit over the top, gets caught from below and res. A double, snappy, quick kills right out of the gate. Cloud9 not going to be feeling themselves about this start. After a tech issue, a timeout, and right back into action, being 2 players down in the first few seconds. A lot needs to be done here. nafany gets towards the sandbag's position. Unable to really find his opportunity just yet to pull at least one of them back. Now peeks out, position given away. Nothing found for nafany.
He really wants to find a way back into this round. nafany is the kind of player who wants to take fights, and when you're down in a 3v5, you need that player to bring you back into it. NiP have this site so heavily fortified though. They have an AWP here, they have a couple of riflers, and they're looking to fight here. Rez has already got 2 on the round. He's playing this exposed position because he wants more.
Oh, that is quick. Rez gets forcibly removed from play. Now, Essetag relying entirely upon the rifle and the headshot position of ZTR to cover him off, and as nafany play forward. nafany's position now given away. Missed shot from Essetag, and now under pressure. ZTR has not fended off his opponents, and he will be caught by Shiro. The numbers now favor Cloud9 suddenly. And Plopsky needs to pull his team back into it, but interz is completely ready for his spot. Roland's got 1, but plenty more needed at the 14-second mark. Takes 1, loses the bomb and up, but it's still nafany who's able to get the round over the line for Cloud9. And that is a bit disappointing for NiP side of things not to convert that.
Good recovery from Cloud9, but NiP should have had that crossfire locked down. Even when S-Attack misses that AWP shot, I feel like ZTR's got a golden opportunity to trade his teammate. That was the opener from Shiro, so quick on the kill, and then you feel like ZTR can maybe peek as they're pushing S-Attack's position, but I think he might have just fluffed his shot slightly, wasn't able to get that kill, and now look at the economy for NiP. 1 round loss, and they're mostly on pistols. I love the 5.7s though. 5.7's good right now.
It is very good at the moment, so we won't cut them out entirely, especially if Rolling can get off to a good start like this. Once you take the first player out and you know it's Shiro and nafany still around, you're going to immediately start to consider this position. Unable to get rid of him just yet.
Really well-timed swing from NiP. I'm sure they just timed it. 3, 2, 1. Let's all swing together. Cloud9 couldn't handle 3 players peeking the top of ramp, but they have now got the ramp control they were looking for, and interz has got a frag straight back.
It's an important kill to find there for Cloud9. They don't want to let this numbers advantage go the way of NiP, but this boost over the top could work out. Flash goes up to let them. Yeah, they made a bit of noise and that drew the attention. It wasn't the smoothest and sent up to the boost. If they got into that position, guaranteed 1 kill at least, but possibly even 2.
Still 2 CTs here, but not any longer. They're both gone in a flash.
Yeah, that's snappy from Hobbit. That's great from Cloud9. They recover the round, lose the first player. Could have got out of hand, especially if that boost works out, but NiP kind of fluffed their lines a little bit, and Cloud9 take the opportunities given to them, keeping 4 players up. And you mentioned the economy game for NiP at the start of this. Well, they invest everything into it. It's not going to look good in this next round, but that is just testament to how Cloud9 brought a lot of these rounds close earlier on, right? They ran out of time a few times. You've been put under pressure because of the utility. But they were also finding the opening kills, right? They were getting the advantages and breaking down NiP, forcing them to rebuy. So they've put themselves in a competitive position because of that, and this should be 4 rounds now for Cloud9.
Should be able to get into a good position. It really has all been about that A site so far in this game, certainly in the gun rounds.
Yes.
This is the boost. You see both players turning as soon as they realize Rez is probably about to peak that position. And then those follow-up frags were just so quick.
Well, you can see right now on the NiP side of things, 5 USP, so that allows us to talk about the other matchup that's currently ongoing. MIBR versus Team Liquid. And America's matchup going on over on that B stream. So the Aussie guys. Ooh, Rez goes up again. He wants to go at the boost. His lasso failed. A couple of dinks this time. And the first kill goes to NiP. Really get out of hand though. Cloud9 should be able to fend them off. Shiro forced to use a molly to keep himself up.
Cloud9 have fully controlled the B site now. They're just getting that bomb back from spawn. Shiro with the AWP, not ideal when these players are running you down. It's gonna get away.
Ooh, a good pick from Shiro. Second as well. Does get overrun, but AWP will be picked up and salvaged by Axel. 4 rounds for Cloud9. Couple of kills there for NiP is really all you can hope for. But we now focus forward to the follow-up round. NiP can start to buy up again, get the rifles out. A timeout being taken for NiP. You mentioned DJL a little bit earlier on, but I think his presence is even more important now that you haven't got Hampers. You've got ZTR stepping in. Maui mentioned he's essentially a rookie calling for you at the moment in an event like this. And so you're looking at DJL to have his strategical input throughout this match.
Absolutely. His timeouts will be crucial for NiP throughout this series. It was also really nice to hear that S-Attack is helping out with some of those calls, according to the NiP side. He is an experienced head and also someone who is a big nerd, and I mean that in the best possible way. He looks at the wall bangs, he looks at all sorts of nades, so I'm sure he's got some tricks up his sleeve too.
Yeah, wanting to squeeze absolutely every percentage out. But we'll see what NiP have conjured up after their timeout, how they're going to deal with some of the issues they've perhaps been having towards ramp against the Cloud9 side. Goes up, nafany charging into his common position yet again. Going to be looking for S-Attack to jump on by, and nafany, I don't know how he gets away with it so often, but he's found another one.
Oh, Rez didn't seem ready for that angle, even even though his teammate just died from it. And nafany able to swing for another frag. They're just not able to handle this position right now. That short smoke keeps coming up, and they don't know how they can swing for that fight favorably.
It's how quick nafany gets into the position. It's so stifling. It's so difficult to try and deal with him in that spot. But you mentioned Rez not being ready for the position of nafany. That is a little curious.
Yeah, a little surprising. Sometimes
see through the metal as well.
True, and sometimes it can be hard to communicate very specific spots. Like you might have a spot name in general, but you might not be able to say, oh, he's really far pushed up in that position.
Especially with the communication between Essetag and the Swedes, right? We'll see how that pans out down the line. Should be improving every single time, but we're opening. Essetag taken out, and nafany snaps up onto Rez too. So I think Cloud9, when you've got nafany towards the ramp being that successful, most of the time you should be converting those round wins.
I don't know why we just showed a fist bump from the NiP side onto Essetag.
Good job, good job.
Yeah, it's a little too easy, I think, for nafany because he's got that smoke up to the right side, and NiP have rarely shown a willingness to push that. I think Rez, in one of the very early rounds, pushed that smoke and just lost the fight to nafany anyway, and now nafany can just hold towards the left side on that angle with the AK. You can just hold the headshot height, and that's always going to be a good fight to take. If you're with an AK lasered in on an angle and someone's peeking you, you're happy with that fight.
Timeout this time for Cloud9.
We're 10 rounds in and we've had like 4 timeouts, I think, 2 for each team.
And a couple of techs in there too. It's been a slow start, absolutely, but Groove having his say this time. I love how Groove is always just chilling. You know, he's always sitting back, lounging in his chair. Just giving out orders from the back. We'll see how Cloud9 approach this, perhaps expecting NiP to adapt to the problem of nafany. I think you have to at this point. We'll see how NiP deal with it, because they've been losing a lot of players there and really haven't been contesting it even with the trades.
And in some of the rounds where NiP have sat back a bit more, it's actually worked out for them. When Cloud9 have run down the clock and NiP have been playing back on the A bomb site, they've been able to use their utility. Here's nafany again, and he might get a fight from 2 sides this time.
Same position taken. Oh, Rez wanted to dunk the HP of nafany down. They could have double netted him, but nafany is going to take a bit of damage. He's down to 60. They're trying to use gimmicks, they're trying to use utility to get him out of the spot, but he's still sticking around. He's sticking to the position.
At least they haven't lost an early fight this time. Look, that's a nade that's done more damage to Rez than nafany's taken from all the attempted ones that NiP threw at him.
nafany's just a master of this position, isn't he? He's got every trick in the book ready to deal with it. Shiro, oh, good flash, good timing on the play forward, but no kill for NiP. Hobbit fends them off, covers off his teammate, and keeps Cloud9 in the better position as we now hit the 55-second mark.
And this time NiP have used a lot of their utility early. They've been trying to fight forward. They've been trying to flash in for this ramp play. So it's not a similar scenario where the clock will run down and NiP will have mollies and nades to try and deny that bomb plant. That's not an option this time. And so if Cloud9 get a good execute late round, this could be successful. And they're finally going back to B. We haven't seen that for a while.
Yeah, we're seeing the pack shift to B, leaving Hobbit to throw out some utility. Rez smells that this could be a bit of a fake and a bit of a ruse. He goes in an information play, but Hobbit tracks him. And now the play coming through for Cloud9. nafany's ripped apart Plopsky, and not enough resistance here for NiP. Cloud9 have taken every single kill needed, and they might just get even more. Hobbit in the mid-fight goes down to Essetag, but nafany is quick on the heels. Essetag now focused on nafany's position. Ned went through and did more damage onto Essetag, so nafany should be taking him out in just a moment, and there's the pick. Roland saving his rifle. Cloud9 playing across the map now. You see the initial success again towards the ramp fights. This time it wasn't nafany Hawker. It was actually Hobbit fending off Shiro. We've seen NiP try to go for some aggression a little bit later on in the round, and it didn't work out.
Yeah, it didn't work out this time. We are seeing at least NiP try something slightly different there, and the flashback into ramp for ZTR looked pretty good. He just wasn't able to get that kill onto Shiro, who was pretty vulnerable and pretty exposed once he got blinded. And then Plopski leaves that B site a little too soon. And this has got to be a frustrating game for Plopski. I can understand that reaction because he's been sitting on B the majority of the time. He's not been getting much action over on that side of the map. And this time when they do come back to B, he's not really in a proper position to lock down that side of the map. And NiP, remember, were up 5-1 at one point, and now this game is slipping.
Yeah, Cloud9 settled into it. It was scary for the Cloud9 guys, but go into a rhythm. Look at this though. They've actually flanked around the back. CTR has had enough of nafany. He goes through the smoke, comes around the backside of nafany. That's the first time they've really dealt with him in the recent rounds.
And it may be because they have pistols. They can afford to just take a little risk. You know, this is a round where you don't have much to lose. Oh, Plopski spammed straight through. Axal over on B brings one back for Cloud9, but we've got to rotate. Cloud9 still undecided though. They've got all the map control.
Got a lot of time as well. Weapon superiority. Don't let yourself get too panicked in this position. Cloud9 looking to keep it under control. With the Utah, they can clear out and limit some of the positions being played. Headshot cleared out, sandbags. Smoke being set up in for Elevator, but ZTR in an elevated position himself. Rez trying to get something done, but a ZTR's power position has come away with the only kill in that engagement. A 3v3 for NiP, a kill on the back of Roland. Lack utility is the problem here though. For the Swedes, they try and get back in. Roland thrust out of the round. Axel will double up, and just Esetai left alone with a P250. Let's see if he can get something on the way out the door. Cloud9 securing 7.
Just a measly P250. This can do anything, and neither can he. Cloud9 able to take control of that A site. At least seeing NiP battle for ramp in this round and find some success there. That is a potential positive side, but I don't know if NiP are going to want to do that on the gun rounds. It is a big risk to take, and they've been losing that fight more often than not. We have got another full buy out for the NiP side. Standard setup again, 3 towards A. Smoke being lined up initially. nafany in the same position. This time, Esetak's there ahead of him, and that's what they've been waiting for. That AWP gets the pick.
Yeah, good pick. Plopski got a pick already. Axel going to be traded out so efficiently by interz. A 3v3. Look how many kills have come across the board in the first few seconds of this round. It's chaotic, but it's opened up the B side. And that's exactly where Cloud9 want to head, but they had Hobbit, who was somewhat of a linchpin in towards middle, but he's been taken out. And look at ZTR, the quick flank around the B stairs. This could get real messy for Cloud9.
Taking his time on this flank, but Shiro seems like he's somewhat aware of the possibility. Oh, no, he's not. He's been spammed.
It's a good job there from ZTR, just edging his way out to the side of the map, spamming through the metal. It's going to put interz in a very difficult position, but they line up. Interz gets the double, and now it's just ZTR he has to fend off. Defuse being stuck around the corner. ZTR's holding, it's not planted for interz, and he's just stuck it. I love the call for ZTR to just hold it through as he realizes interz position. The bomb is implanted for him, and he'll thrust that one away in the hands of NiP.
Yeah, it's so hard for interz to know what to do in the 1v1 there because the bomb is planted safe, and if you try and commit to denying it, you just step out into the open and there's no cover and you're forced to fight, and with him being so low, that's not ideal. A little bit of frustration shown by Shiro there.
Frustrating round so far for both teams at the start of this game, Hawker.
Esetak again, getting the AWP on this angle is big. It means nafany hasn't been able to get up early, but this time it's more pressure on the B side of the map.
Oh, Plopski. Ripped open by Axel. Flashes start to pop their way into the side, rolling. The back of Generator taken out of the play by interz. CTR is getting involved in these last few rounds. He's taking another one, 11-6. He is the top performing player right now for NiP. Cloud9 in such a good position here, and for NiP, you really didn't compete at all in this round, and you have to look down to the rest of the half. You want to save these weapons.
That's a little too easy for Cloud9.
It was very easy, wasn't it?
Especially considering we've talked about how this team win a lot of their rounds just based on getting those bright lights at times. So I'm surprised that NiP were willing to give away those fights early. You know, Plopski was just out in the open.
Just gotta make sure you win the rounds, yep. There you go. That's the insurance policy. Shiro's done the risk analysis. burns it away. But 8 rounds, Cloud9 have won the half by a minimum of 1 round, but will now be heading into the last round of the first half. NiP would love another one squeezed out of this. They saved the 3 weapons to make sure that they could compete into this one, but as you pointed out, that last round felt way too easy. You can't let that happen again here. Nothing to lose at the end of this half.
Especially considering for NiP, they have now started to battle ramp a little better. They had nafany get that pick previously. His AWP seems to be able to peek that position and stop nafany from getting into that spot. Let's see if he goes for it again. He is peeking the shelf, but this time, Shiro's ready for it.
That gives Cloud9 yet another advantage to play with. Struggling to convert them in the first few rounds of the first half. Since stabilized, it looked fantastic. Cloud9 would love to try and close. 9. Follow-up kill's not there for nafany. What a great job from CTR. A double kill delivered from that one position has put NiP in a position where they're actually even on the player count.
Utility at the ready, but Axel's getting spammed. The rotate has arrived. So many smokes all over the bomb site, and it's tough for Cloud9 to get past them right now. Hobbit is looking to control the site itself, though. But again, getting that bomb down could be a real problem. Rotate away might help. Shiro's actually snuck away with the bomb. Oh, faking the steps back. He's maybe hoping that someone goes aggressive into Hobbit's angle, but NiP aren't falling for that bait.
Yeah, they're wise to the trick. Not gonna fool them with that. Shiro's coming back. 30 seconds now on the timer.
Hobbit still has a smoke too. That could be useful.
Shiro with one as well. 23 seconds. Smoke will be chosen to go down towards elevator. Shiro now leaps towards default. Oh, hasn't put the bomb down. Luckily had a smoke to deal with that. Does burn a few extra seconds here. And a bit of health too. Shiro puts the bomb down and starts to drop back in towards short.
Very patient from NiP, but they themselves will now set up their smokes for the retake.
And that is going to cancel out the AWP. They're both playing with AWPs right here for Cloud9. If the smoke goes down onto the bomb, it's not the weapon to spam if they start to defuse in it. So this could create some pressure as Hobbit switches out to the rifle. It is a better weapon to select here. Shiro spots Brawl and Hobbit up. They're no longer on the defuse, but now they get back to it. Red sticking it. Cover on the left side. Hobbit down. Now it's all on the AWP. And it's taken for NiP at the end of the half. Defuse stolen away. It's as close as you can get it in the first. We'll see how Vertigo concludes after the break.
Hey Future Pros! Took a lift to the top of Vertigo to show you a chunky double HE setup you can throw into mid on Vertigo. You will need 2 Future Pros and 2 HEs for this one. Future Pro number 1. Make your way into the front corner of connector. Aim at the right dot on the left panel and jump to the HE. That's some good damage, but we can do more. Future Pro number 2. Hop up onto the wooden panels and aim just inside of the top right corner of this orange mesh. Then just throw the HE. This can be extremely annoying for any Ts who want to get a head start on mid control. The faster you throw these nades, the better, but always be prepared for a T who could have had a 6 spawn.
Cloud9 versus the Ninjas in Pajamas is as close as you can get it here on Vertigo. It's 7. Cloud9 take the slight lead on their map pick as they now switch to the defensive side. A couple of woes at the start for Cloud9, I think, not picking up and converting some rounds where they get those early advantages. Definitely started to settle in towards the later rounds of the half. And I think they'll be wanting to just pick up a good start here in the second. Definitely should have felt that they should have won a few more rounds in that first half.
They will feel like that, but the positive side of that is they were getting into a lot of good positions, and they did start to close them out towards the end of the half. Here's a fast play from NiP, and there's not really much resistance on this B site.
It is very quick. Axel going to play from the back of the generator. Ooh, he actually swings out and immediately starts fighting. CTR, the first victim of his USP. Bomb starts to go down. Rans will play towards generator, his teammates in decent positions, but oh, what? Axel just swings around the side. Red no longer standing. Brolin go down as well, and it's all onto Esetai. Just like that, all of his teammates are falling. It's one for Esetai, but under so much pressure, you can't expect him to hold on for much longer, and Cloud9 have Axel to thank for some ridiculous shots there.
Yeah, that's another thing that Cloud9 definitely have in their locker is a lot of players whose aim is so good that they can just dominate pistol rounds like that. Even though this looked like a pretty good start to the round from NiP, where they were able to force themselves onto the site, they were able to get the bomb down. It's just some fantastic shots from the Cloud9 players. Remember that NiP got that bomb down, though. That's always the main goal in the pistol round, the first goal, because if you get that bomb plant, you always leave yourself open the option to force up. Is Esetai really keeping the AK without Kevlar? No, he's giving it over to someone else, as you'd expect. And it's Rez. He can certainly crack some heads.
Had a big performance against the likes of Complexity, but yet to see him really ignite the server. 6 and 12 right now on the player count. Would be fantastic to see him have a step up here. But they lost the first player already. Axel takes out Blobski.
NiP happy to take some time after losing that first player. Right now, mid only has one man holding. It's Shiro, who is somewhat committed to this angle. Should be traded. Brolin gets that. Now they'll try and split B. Or maybe not. Maybe they'll take some time. The utility is so low here for NiP, though. You might just have to rely on that AK to get you an entry at this point.
Brolin coming back with that AK. He's going to try and fight toward ramp. Taking Hobbit out here is almost impossible. The jump spot's just too difficult to land, even though Brolin anticipated it. Just getting that with a rifle, it's close to impossible. Now we look at the 29-second mark. Drifting back over to BRNIP with the last two remaining players. And you mentioned the lack of utility, where here it goes. It's being sent out. One flash left, and that's all they've got to get them towards the site. They send Brolin in with the AK. Unable to take out interz, who will stand tall and take himself another one. Axel helps him out, and Cloud9 reach 10. So double figures collected on their CT side. Money not there for NiP. They invested into that last round. They didn't get a bomb plant. They didn't really make it competitive. And so we're looking down the barrel of an eco coming in for the Ninjas.
Yeah, that's kind of why I was expecting NiP to commit sooner in that round, because you see at the end there, they just are relying on a couple of flashes, and they don't really have the weapons that can fight at range anyway, other than the one AK. So by stalling out, Cloud9 can get into comfortable positions. Now it is up to the Deegs to try and do something for NiP. That nade should get him.
That's going to be a nice one. Takes a good bit of health off already. Follow-up nade is deep. Let's just get one at P250. That's all you can really hope for is a couple of shots like that, isn't it?
I think Hobbit just typed the nice shot in chat
after
that one.
I think there's no other way you can deal with it. But Axel, that's lovely. That's clean. As he starts to slank around the back, we've got rid of that round for NiP. We can now focus on their investment. Cloud9 now read 11-7. Buy looking good for them. Money starting to build as they keep their back-to-back rounds relatively clean. And NiP now have the difficult task of staying competitive in Vertigo, because they were competitive in the first half, but maintaining that competitive level as you go into the second That has to start now.
Yeah, and even the rounds that NiP won were rounds oftentimes where Cloud9 may have just got the advantage early and actually got some opening kills, and then NiP came through with some heroics. And there's only so long you can rely on those individual step-ups or those late-round bomb plant denials that they were getting. Feels like Cloud9 have stabilized and have been the better team throughout here. Pressure from interz drops down into the arms of Plopsky. And there's more where that came from. Axel tries to follow through, but NiP win those early fights. Now it's only Hobbit here.
Yeah, Hobbit is going to look up to construction. He's done well, but not anticipating the quick second. He was more focused on towards stairs instead, and that will cost Hobbit a diversion of his attention as NiP swiftly move their way and occupy the B side.
Deep smoke. nafany's going to stick around, but I don't think there's a way in right now.
Yeah, he's starting to back away already. Just take that AK. They're going to save up into this one. And that's good from NiP. That's a good round. You lose 2 players, yes, but if you keep 3 up, the economy starts to build a bit. You're back on the board. We said this was a must-win for them. They'll put it on their scoreboard. And they'll definitely be staying competitive here on Vertigo. Speaking of competitive, we look over to the other side of things in the B stream. Liquid versus NiP are currently ongoing. The winner of the matchup we're watching right now on this stream will play the winner of that stream. We currently have a very back and forth game between NiP and Liquid that is just equal score, and we're heading deep into the double figures. I won't spoil the result for you guys over there just yet. If you want to follow that, add a B to the URL that you're currently watching on.
I think I would like to see Cloud9 take a more conservative setup at the start of this round. I don't mind the aggressive stance there towards B in the previous. They had a lot of money built up, so they could afford to take that risk. But here against an NiP lineup with a stand-in, it's not a map that NiP play too often. I would like Cloud9 to actually just sit back a bit and maybe just make NiP make the play, because I think NiP have to prove that they can win these T rounds. There is Axel though, the AWP out onto B, definitely a good option and a good look for him early.
Good stuff from Axel. Seen a couple of times yesterday actually wielding this AWP to great success in Shiro. Lovely pick to follow up. NiP dealt a bad hand at the start of this round, down 2 players already, and the round's virtually just begun.
That's what I like seeing from Cloud9. It is somewhat aggressive, but you are still just holding angles and making NiP come to you. That's really what I wanted to see from Cloud9 in this round. It's worked out for them with that double AWP setup. Shiro and Axel have been the 2 big hitters so far in this game too, so getting them the AWPs, definitely a good idea. And now NiP realize they may just have to group and try and take a site together. There's still counter utility for Cloud9 though.
And the problem is also you have 3 players still here right now, so you don't even have a player advantage. Attacking 1 bomb site is a pack here for NiP. The positions taken for Cloud9 as well. You would almost guarantee at least 1 to be found from either of the entrance points. nafany's deployed another late smoke down into short. That's going to buy some time, rot that clock a little further. NiP are just going to be in an awkward position here. They're going to have to just throw everything they've got and just hope for perfection when it comes to these fights if they want to go for this.
Not a bad nade onto those 2 players. A couple of CTs pushed into short, but it's Esatag who has to lead the charge, and ZTR is actually able to get that first kill. 2 low health players though, and nafany's going to line them up.
Yeah, good stuff from nafany. Just tucked away in short. When you're this under pressure, when you're this limited on time, you can't really be as methodical in those positions, and that's where sometimes the likes of nafany will get away with a bit more to play with. Gets the lineup as they're distracted in the site, gets the 2 picks, and Cloud9 at 12. With winning that round, it really does start to feel like Cloud9, it's a matter of time before they close this out at this point. They are completely in the driver's seat in terms of the scoreline. They're 4 away. NiP still have a few opportunities to remain competitive here, but it is starting to fall away from them. See a timeout being called by DJL.
Got a close-up of that timeout being
we really did a slow-mo as well.
Boom. I mean, they need it right now. They got off to a 5-1 lead, but Cloud9 have been in control ever since they started to come back into this map. Shouldn't be too much money for NiP in this round either.
It was interesting to see what decision they would go with economically, and they have decided to go with the half investment upgraded pistols. Tech-Knight's Deagles, or P250 in there as well, and a decent amount of utility. NiP maybe with a bit of pace to the play, but Shiro and nafany immediately take Rez and ZTR out. So NiP once again have to play the majority of the round with 2 players down.
not many nades for them to try and get into this B site either.
It's quite a decisive call though, isn't it, to get back to B quickly, but you can see Cloud9 are so ready for it.
Yeah, 2 CTs on the site itself. Even if you try this boost up, you can maybe sneak up and get slightly closer, but you've got to rely on that flashbang, really, you would think, to force Axile off this angle. And here comes that flash.
Yeah, flash about to be sent on through extra smoke. And it's being selected all over here. That's at the ready. Flash is good. Axel, oh, down to default. Brolin's quick to go take that pick. But interz with a swift response. Staying up as well just allows this one to be controlled. And allows Hobbit to drop in alongside of him. interz, lovely pick. Plopski out. And as you would expect, NiP unable to really get a competition going in this round. It is done. It is 13. A formality that round was to be played. But 308 from Cloud9 taking victory. But NiP, we have to remember, they did half invest so they could get the rifles out in this one. And this has to be it now. They have to pick this up. If they don't, Cloud9 will be stomping their way to a victory here on Vertigo.
Yeah, if you've got to go to Vertigo strat right now on the NiP side, this is where you call it, because you cannot afford to lose this round. The issue is they've just been losing so many early fights that they haven't really been able to run many of their plays. Axile molly down early.
That spread quite a bit, didn't it?
Yeah.
Tickled by fire, the stand-in IGL of NiP.
I like this from NiP, a little slower taking the map control so that they don't lose the players straight away in one of these rounds as they have been previously. The only downside of this is that Cloud9 themselves don't have to use too much utility early in the round. You can even see a double stack into mid. Interz blind, but he's still able to come out on top.
Yeah, Brolin's going to be kicking himself about that. You can see the frustration immediately as he couldn't quite control to take that first pick. Cloud9 have the player to the good right now as you hit the 1 minute mark. NiP gathering their forces. Looking to put some pressure through short side, and nafany was a nuisance on the T side. Can often be the same here, but this time can't see through that smoke. Reds has a bit of a one-way to play with, and nafany taken out. So that number advantage is now dwindled back and equalized once more. We now go to the 40 seconds, and NiP pushing towards A.
Well-timed molly from Shiro. They don't have to be worried about short right now. Another smoke about to be put into position. That's going to make this awkward for NiP.
Lovely shot from Hobbit. Look how quick that is. Esetai gets boosted up, and Hobbit immediately just snaps his skull in half.
Time is so low. They have 2 smokes, but they've got to get a move on here and clear this site quickly. And there's still a molly for interz.
And Cloud9 with the advantage of dropping back. They know they can play behind the utility. They're going to boost Shiro up to see if he can see around the side of this. Just biding his time at 9 seconds. That's all NiP have to go with. They have to try and plant. Missed shot from Shiro. Bomb does go down here for NiP.
Plopski able to win that first fight. He's stuck on the site, and Cloud9 know it.
And Plopski's going to hold low HP. Swing out from interz. Goes down! Plopski with a massive double, and Reds will seal the deal. NiP, it was looking almost impossible. It was looking chaotic towards the end. But they find a spot to put the bomb down, and they're able to stay up, drop back, and Plopski delivers the goods.
Really impressive round from Plopski. He was the man that actually had to put that bomb down. And normally that's the player that's left in a position where he can't frag out. He can't get into a good post-plant spot. But Plopski, despite being spotted on the site, able to just hold it down, rely on his aim to deny the trades.
And that's a timeout being called for Cloud9. Ahead of this one. And we'll be looking to try and stop any potential momentum that NiP can build off of that. They want to snap them right back immediately in response. Groove having a sight. It's talking them through, putting them through the paces as we now look to the purchase for Cloud9. AWP's out here for Shiro. Utility a little limited on interz and Shiro, but majority of them perfect buy so far. So this is a chance. Cloud9 can answer back immediately, and NiP realize they've given themselves a platform. They have to springboard off it.
Again, you see NiP having to rely on players overperforming expectations, though. They've rarely got into positions where they've got the early advantage. They've got the positional advantage. Here's a double stack into mid again. And that could work wonderfully as NiP come around the corner.
Oh, Brolin, big pick. Gets shredded out immediately by Hobbit. And now we're at the 4v4 straight away.
That's why you get that double stack on the Cloud9 side. Even if a fantastic shot is landed, there's no way Brolan's getting more than one in that scenario.
Laxel can often be perfect when he's challenged to be. Problem is he doesn't really get challenged to be that often.
Oh.
Shoulder spotted. Plopsky ready for that spot. Axel goes a little too wide and Plopsky denies him. He's out of that already. NiP now hit under a minute and they have got that player advantage. They've got plenty of utility, a lot going for them. nafany starting to feel a little uncomfortable. Just going to start leaving the site, pushing towards the sandbags to gain some control and information back.
Good patience from Plopsky to not commit to B. He realized NiP are better off grouping up elsewhere, and they still have a couple of mollies which could make nafany uncomfortable. nafany still has a smoke. Are they going to clear sandbags though? They haven't used a molly there yet.
Oh, this could be a big problem if they don't check nafany. They don't fully clear the sandbags. nafany is starting to creep around the backside. They're not looking at him. Oh, ZTR wraps around. That was a free kill for nafany. But ZTR eventually does check the trigger discipline. It was nearly perfect. And that is a bit frustrating, but NiP pick is that Cloud9 forced to save already.
Finally, someone realizes sandbags is the one position that we haven't properly cleared out. It would have been nice for nafany there to have just someone else on the site watching and maybe making a little noise, because that way they might have looked away from sandbags a little longer. You see ZTR wraps around the front side of sandbags. So if there was someone holding that sort of angle, maybe from elevator, that could have helped nafany significantly. But you can understand what nafany was going for there. Instead of just getting a free frag, he realized down in the 3v4, pretty much alone on A, he probably needed to get a multi-kill. He saw the round win potentially unfolding ahead of him. You can't blame him for going for that play. But NiP finally get a round where it felt like they were in control. They got the early advantage, they won the early fights. That boost onto B was well timed. Plopsky waited for Axel to come to him, and then once they got the advantage, they didn't waste it. They didn't overcommit. They realized that they could just use their strength in numbers. Now they've pushed Cloud9 back into a scenario where there's basically no investment, just a couple of guns.
Well, NiP have won the rounds required. Get them right back into this, and I am looking forward to the rest of this map. Unless this round goes the other way, and it won't. So contained, controlled, and NiP ship it to 11. All about just getting Shiro this AWP again. Now for this NiP side, you bring up a great point in terms of the expectations for the team. You never really know where to place them, and I think you're always a little conservative in terms of what you can expect and exclaim about this NiP team, and they always exceed them. Sometimes majorly, sometimes just about. But this is a team that have maintained competition with so many different changes. You have a blockbuster signing your device. You don't have him in the scene anymore. You haven't really even got an AWPer. Essitai once again has to go and just pick up that role out of necessity. And he continues to impress me with the fact that Essitai can be so versatile, right? He's not going to be an expert in every role, right? He's more of a jack of all trades. And the fact that he's able to do it to serviceable level in multiple different roles is always fun for me to watch.
Just a very versatile player, very competent in a lot of different positions. It's nice to have a player that can fill the void in your team. Any spot that's needed, it seems like Essitai is happy to take on. He just wants to win. And right now, NiP are winning rounds. 11 about to be confirmed. The question is, can they deny the save? And Shiro is able to get the one frag back. So at least the AWP carried on over. That's the main weapon that Cloud9 would have wanted, because it would have been hard for them to reinvest into that sniper. Everyone else can get the rifles. But they've got to figure out why they've been losing these opening fights in recent rounds.
Yeah, maybe a bit of frustration leaking into the Cloud9 side too at this point. You're not going to be too thrilled about this, but buy is still that. Back to the solid purchase. NiP doing this. We want away from tying it up. ZTR, good performance he's had. He's out through the B smoke. Taking up position, but Axel sees his barrel. Oh, nearly gets the pick, but Axel, he's unfortunately not able to find that for Cloud9, and that's very fortunate for CTR. He was dead to rights there.
It's just such an awkward angle for Axel. You would love to stray a bit further forwards, but you don't want to risk falling down. Yeah, exactly. You're basically just giving away your life if you do that.
And even if you do get that pick as well, you should be traded immediately because you're too committed to the angle. So definitely a smarter call. You push the limits as much as you can, but dropping back and staying alive for the round itself is definitely the call here. Boost coming up, Brawling getting onto the wood. Minute left.
Better safe than sorry was the approach that Axel took. Now he can play back on the bomb site. Cloud9 not taking much map control in this one. Here's a flash. Axel falls back, but he's got some assistance. Brawling looking to create some space on the site, and they've got the opener they were looking for.
Yeah, racing forward is Plopsky. Actually, he gets that first kill off the round.
All the nades.
He's down and out. Hobbit searches him. Seeking missile going in towards the side as well. Does a lot of damage on towards nafany. The eyes on Rez. He's coming in through the middle and he pulled one back. A lovely transfer up as well. Takes Hobbit out of the picture. That's Atai painting a pretty picture here for NiP. There's nafany now alone. Slips through the smoke. DKR thought it was his blind spot, but still sees enough of nafany to react and shut him out. NiP now 12 rounds. Cloud9. No money left really to get it by here, so we're now starting to be in an uncomfortable position entirely for Cloud9. They're playing against NiP, who have a stand-in for their IGL. This is Cloud9's map pick. We are starting to get into the high-pressure scenario.
Yeah, that massively comes down to that fight between interz and Rez. Interz was aware of the lurk. He was holding for it, and yet he wasn't able to get that kill, and that's what allows Rez to turn it into 2. Because interz goes down, his teammate up on construction also follows suit, and that was really the decisive moment of that round. And again, NiP are finding quite a lot of success now on that B bomb site. Axel was forced back by the flash, having to play back behind the generators. They just weren't ready for Brawling to be so quick up into the site. That was a really nice job by NiP to make him get into that position, to force Cloud9 to play it safe. Again, Cloud9 not with enough money for a good buy. They have to go for the half. This is getting dicey now.
Yeah, this should be tied up, no problem. nafany looks to dance with Rez. Gonna take him out. nafany on 12, Nate will find him. Rez hunts him down that way. And that's going to give the advantage on over to NiP. They'll start to clear out the sandbags, being methodical here, which is forcing out all of these pesky pistols into the rifle's crosshairs. CTR adds a 22nd kill to his tally. What a performance he's having individually. It's a good team effort across the board here from NiP overall. No one's really slacking. And CTR is the one that is above the rest. What an opportunity this is just from a human perspective for CTR. You can really look at this. You know, you were in the NiP roster for a while. You got the taste what it was like being in these big events. But you've gone back to really playing in nothing. To get the call up again last minute. I was talking to him. He was saying, you know, he's just got maybe feels like less than a day to get ready for this event. You're going to take this opportunity. You want to make a statement and show the world what you have got. Maybe shop yourself out to a couple of other teams and hopefully get the call up someday to this NiP team eventually again, or go elsewhere. But great opportunity being presented to him. One that probably felt like it came out of nowhere.
Yeah, great that he's looking so sharp individually, as you were saying, because I don't think that's something NiP could have fully expected or accounted for. You wouldn't come into this game and say, hey, ZTR is going to be the player top fragging for us and top fragging the server.
And let's bring it back to Maui's point as well about the fact that when you lose Hampers, you lose the disruption, you lose a bit of firepower within him as well. So CTR can make sure that the diminished firepower is nominal or rather non-existent, then that's fantastic here for CTR. A couple of picks could come through here for Hobbit. There's no kit here for Cloud9. Bomb down and secure for NiP as they will look to 13 in a row, 13 to tie up. And so we're now looking at a Cloud9 that are probably sweating quite a bit, looking at their map picks slowly slip away from them.
I think the thing that's impressed me from NiP here is actually the fact that it hasn't really been a game where I'd say we've seen many big plays from their individuals. There aren't many rounds where you'd say, oh, well, that round was won by this player specifically. It's actually just been a lot of grindy rounds where they just get the important kills at the right times. That's what NiP always just seem to manage to do. They always seem to manage to grind out these rounds, make them closer than they should be. And here was the problem for me heading into this series. Cloud9 always seemed to underperform my expectations. NiP always seemed to overperform. NiP are doing it again here on Vertigo. Now they've got a chance to take the lead if they can win this gun round.
Buyback for Cloud9. It's been a little while since we've seen this purchase out. NiP sent a couple of players into ramp, softened up by the initial nades, but it is quick here for NiP. They're through the top ramp smokes.
Nafany not happy to play aggressive. Cloud9 would rather play back right now with how this game has been going.
No information here for Cloud9, so just NiP signaling they did put presence towards top ramp. If C9 don't go on an information gathering hunt, they have to assume that NiP are still there. They've dropped back. They're waiting for that play. They're waiting for that information move from Cloud9 to gather that opening pick.
Look at the stack from Cloud9 too. 4 on A. We could well see this aggression.
Yeah, here comes that aggression now. Flash is being ready, and it's coming at the time that NiP have started to move forward back into the position again.
I don't know if this flash would blind them though with the positions they're in right now.
Ineffective. Information peak there from interz. Hobbit's actually committing further forward, but he wants to get in behind the sandbags. Oh, interz hold to that cross. Is able to take out Hobbit. The first kill was there, and that's the call to go now for NiP. They start to accelerate. They start to put the utility into the site, and Shiro realizes he has to thin the herd. It's one kill for Shiro, but that's all he will find, and all of his teammates drop. NiP pushing forward, 14 rounds. They will now take the lead.
That is such a cool call from NiP. They are so quick to go for the play, and what I love about that from Esatag is Esatag hears that flash into ramp, and what does he do? He waits. He waits and holds for a player to potentially cross to sandbags, because when you hear that flash into ramp, you know that there's likely to be some aggression at some point. You know that Cloud9 want the info, so he just holds that tight sandbags angle, and as soon as he gets the kill, NiP were aware of the fact that they could pounce quickly. I think they clearly called ahead of time. If we get a pick, we're just going to quickly go with the utility. We're going to quickly commit to the site, and even though it got slightly scrappy for a second, it was Cloud9 put under pressure. Axar may be able to save the rifle, but there's not going to be much more for Cloud9 here.
What a disaster this would be.
Look at this. He just holds. He knows there's going to be some aggression, and then they're quick to respond with the play.
What a great round from NiP. At no point were they put under pressure. At no point were they forced to reconsider their move at the start of the round. They had a plan out of the spawn, and it worked out perfectly as they planned out, and there's the frustration. Shiro. You know, the pressure will start to amount for these teams. And for these players on this team, you've just signed for super organization, right? A big name in Counter-Strike. You had the online era, people calling you onliners, so you come back to LAN, the results haven't been what people expected, people wanted. Cloud9 are going to be under a lot of pressure as individuals, and they are very young. Frustration might get through, emotions might get the better of them. Nafany still trying to put some pressure down the ramp. He's taken out of contention at the ramp play, but he's still standing for the round. He's 12 HP, so at least they haven't lost that first player.
You've also got to point out for Cloud9, they got off to such a strong start in their second half. Now they've lost 6 rounds in a row to get to this point. It was 13-8 at one point. That can't add to the confidence right now. You can see the frustration coming in, but this is a setup on the B site that could be effective. The quad position will be mollied though. Axel has a smoke, but if they do molly his position, that will give the game away.
Axel, here comes that util to make things a little hot and heavy for him. He chunked down to 44. interz uncomfortable on default as well. Great utility here for NiP. Axel blinded, under a lot of pressure, still gets away with one. interz only one, but that's enough to keep him back and forth. Shiro sends himself through the play, gets himself a double on the other side of the smoke. It's Plumsky and ZTR that go down, and it puts Esatag into the clutch. He's so low, mortally wounded into this 1 versus 2. 19 seconds left. Eventually we'll have to commit to that bomb plant. They're both doubled up towards construction. Esatag would love to split them into the 1v1s. Good discipline for nafany to start the pullback, but now the commitment to the plant. Cloud9 swiftly making their way down. Another headshot for Esetag. It's down to a 1 versus 1 up against Hobbit, and Esetag has disappeared. He's in the smoke. Hobbit will have lost his opponent, and Esetag is playing this to perfection, trying to find the angle, but Hobbit will survive it. Cloud9 win a must-win round. 14-14, tied up yet again.
Oh man, it was a game of hide and seek on the B-bomb site at the end there. Who could find who first? It was Hobbit who got the right read. Esetag was looking the right direction, but Hobbit a little quicker on the trigger. Really nice try from Esetag in that scenario, but Hobbit, the experienced head on Cloud9, keeps them in it. This was that play from Shiro, though. The fact that he's able to get into an advanced position was so important. He gets a double kill and puts Esetag in this rough spot. And then Hobbit just about able to spot the player on the edge of the smoke. It is still anyone's game here, 14-14. Cloud9 are the ones that have no money, though. They have no room for error right now. If they were to lose this round, they'd be broke.
It's a charge out for Plopski, taking control of the bottom stairs already. No real aggression down towards A or Cloud9. It's interz boosted up in middle. Brawl considers it. Oh, wow. That headshot, that's frustrating. Plopski's found Axel elsewhere. NiP up 2 players right from the get-go. And Plopski is not slowing down. He is taking the ground towards B. He's taking that space, and Shiro has to worry about middle as well. CTR, the aggressive play comes to him. He doesn't handle it for res. Oh, he's going to slip out. Takes that kill back on nafany. Plopski still towards B. Options available to NiP here as to where they want to finish this.
They're still spread across the map. That's a 1v1 fight going against NiP. Generally, they've been good at grouping up in these scenarios, but this time, they give away one fight. Now it's a 2v3. Still some utility for Cloud9 too. A smoke will go down from Shiro. They've also got a couple of nades. If they could combine those onto this A site to try and deny the plant, that would be brilliant, but right now they don't know where NiP are going. They don't have this info.
Well, Shiro's on the right side. If there's a player you want performing the way he is, you want Shiro to be here. But the no-noise contact play right up to the site has given them so much ground. And Brolin, a little pixel of his backpack spotted. Shiro will see him going towards short. He then springs into action, catches Esetag on the wide fight from Sandbags. He knows there's a player on default and can call the position of the other. Shiro, 3 kills in the round, doing everything he can to get Cloud9 to map point. Brolin has to close this. NiP started this round with significant advantages, but now it favors Cloud9. No utility for this though. Kit on the back of Hobbit. Shiro is looking for his prey. He's wrapped around the back. He's found Brolin looking the wrong way, and Cloud9 will go to 15. They reach map point, and Shiro is the player to thank. 4 kills.
Yeah, what a hero, Shiro in that round. Able to just find the 1v1 fights, and the contact play from NiP looked good initially, but Shiro just holding a real tight angle, able to turn it into some 1v1s. I think that's the moment. Plopski committing to B felt a little too premature. They didn't have real much of a follow-up. That's what put it into this 3v2 to begin with. But then you've just got to give credit to Shiro for managing to pull through with every single frag. And for Cloud9, it's not even celebration, really. It's a pat on the back from Axel and relief that they've managed to reach 15.
And now they have to get the job done. They have to close this out. You mentioned at the beginning of the last round that NiP didn't really have money troubles. They don't again. The bomb plant will give them a little bit of extra to play with here as well as we head into the last round of regulation. Will it be the last round of Vertigo? Cloud9 certainly hope so. Plopski quick towards bottom stairs. Yet again, gets his way out here. He's going to dance with Axel time and time again around this spot.
The difference for Cloud9 has been the individuals at times. That was a 3v5 that they had to turn around. That's what they had to rely on to pull them back into it. And they'd love for one more individual moment. Esetag.
It's close.
Nearly hit that.
It's close, but there's no kill.
There's that one-way smoke again. nafany might try and peek over the top.
Yeah, he's getting in the mix of it. Letting out a bit of spam from the time being, and eventually will start to make his way forward. Nothing spotted from it.
Real patient play from NiP in this one. Shiro established an angle on mid. Cloud9 happy to play back from the bomb site. But NiP still have so much utility. If they were to commit to an A play right now, they could probably get this player out of sandbags.
Well, there's the volley going through, but Hobbit throws a smoke down to buy the time. The nade will go through.
Oh,
Hobbit,
no.
it missed.
He missed one.
It missed, and so that won't remove Hobbit from position, and he can stay here for a few more seconds and draw the attention away. And they don't really have seconds to play with here, NiP. 25 of them left.
Look at the stack. Cloud9 have so many players on A right now.
Oh, wow. I love that from Hobbit. He climbs up on the fence. He goes to the fight as the smoke fades away and pulls a kill in the favor of Cloud9. He is traded out. NiP begin to move forward. Their last-ditch effort to draw this one to overtime. Nafany and interz are both gone, and Shiro unable to land the wallbind. He can't prevent the plant from going down. It's on to Axel and Shiro to make their way back into this round, to get this round over the line, and Vertigo added to the tally, but it won't be happening. NiP will force us all the way to the bonus rounds. Overtime is needed to decide the victor here on Vertigo.
Shiro's just praying for a peek, but it's not coming. It's round 30, you gotta go for it, Shiro. But try as you might, Plopsky will deny. 15-15, going the distance.
Make some noise, Langsess! It's Cloud9 versus Na'Vi. Map 2 coming up now, the first semi-finals. This is going to be one hell of a game.
Cloud9, they've picked up the first map.
Let's get this show on the road.
Throughout the years, Cloud9 surely had many ups and downs. However, in 2017 at ESL1 Cologne, many did a double take when they witnessed them in action.
No utility at all for NiP. They want to go hard at this, but already automatic with 1 second as well. Automatic, unbelievable.
After taking care of NiP in the quarterfinals, it was now Na'Vi's turn to face the speeding American train. And face it, they did, forcing Cloud9 to fight hard in order to secure the first map. Then, history later repeated itself on Overpass, but initially Nadas Vincere were on the run thanks to one player, and that player was Shroud.
Like Skadoodle had actually come out on top there. What a flick coming in. Shroud getting one of the headshot. He's tapping away. Shroud. Can he do it again? He's up to 11 kills and looking for number 12. Are you kidding me, Shroud? Can anyone take this man down? He's got 12-0. He's a one-man army.
The shadows, I've come to make a name. Ready for battle, cause I got a thing to claim. Think that I'll crumble, I'll show you in the slide. Where you see me coming, better run for cover, cause I'm not so
NiP versus Cloud9 heads to overtime on map 1 as we now enter the bonus rounds of Vertigo. NiP would have felt like they had the opportunity to close it out. Shiro, a little moment, gets him into play. Frustration on both sides is evident. There's a few rounds that should have gone their way, didn't talk up, but I'm happy we've got an overtime going.
Yeah, and I feel like NiP have to be the happier of the two teams. They were winning a lot of those T rounds at the end there, and as Yanko pointed out on Twitter, that could give them the edge going into overtime, especially considering they get to stick on that T side that was so effective for them.
The utility being deployed, nafany, charging his way down short. Be a thorn in the side early on here. Spam going back and forth, but you know, something that NiP were doing so well in that first half was dodging all of these early hemorrhages towards the ramp. They weren't really allowing Cloud9 too much out of it.
Deep smoke and molly, another nade from Cloud9. They're really looking to contest this. Nafany might swing, but there's a couple of NiP players in position.
Really looking to establish dominance on the lower ramp. Nafany has taken Essetag's life away from him, but commits to the fight versus Rez and does not win it this time. Shiro sticking around though. They weren't expecting Shiro, and he found Rez. Risky position for Axel. He jumps up with an aid in hand, and that's almost his death sentence. Plopsky rips him apart. interz gets back in time and brings down 2. And it's all on Brolin trying to slip his way over construction. They're now alerted to this spot, and that smoke goes down to buy time and keep interz up. Allows his teammates to get over to help him out. Oh, Brolin predicts the angle of Shiro. He knows there's a player close inside the smoke. Brolin looking to track interz back to quad, potentially could actually get this chance. But Brolin has to worry about so many different positions now too, and he's kind of lost interz, couldn't quite find out where he was. And interz does well there to buy some time, reposition with the smoke, and the round goes Cloud9's way.
That's what interz is so good at, just making sure he doesn't die in those sorts of scenarios. Finds a little hidey hole. This was the pick. That jump was so risky. Plopsky able to get that in towards B, but then NiP, as they commit to the site, I think ZTR maybe should have got that trade. It looked like a good opportunity to trade onto interz, who was out in the open. But as soon as that trade doesn't come through, it's too tricky for Brolin to win that round. Cloud9 strike first, but NiP will look to strike straight back.
A little bit of a different look, really committed from Cloud9 in the previous round to get that ramp control. A lot invested into it. It's good they had Shiro behind nafany, because that would have just been the 1-for-1. 9 not going too hard at it this time around just yet.
Couple more mollies down. Here's Brolin up in mid. interz may not have spotted that, but Brolin will tuck back anyway. NiP happy to take a lot of time here before establishing map control. Eventually they're going to have to contest this ramp, and finally they're going to look to make that move. Cloud9 seem happy to concede it.
Really dropping the time, 45 seconds.
Completely different look from Cloud9 from that previous.
Yeah, it's almost jarring to see how different it is. 35 seconds as NiP begin to think about the finish on the B site, committing into this. There hasn't been that battle with Axel and Plopsky. Axel is playing with the AWP towards construction. It's actually interz that's going to be the first point of contact.
20 seconds for this execute.
Yeah, there's not a lot of time at all here. NiP have to go. They have to be perfect. interz could spoil the party. It's one. For a second, and he handles it well. He's getting wrapped around, finally taken out, but Axel has been given enough time to come around, and oh, the construction flank was coming, but it's watched by Cloud9, and it's enough. It's a strong enough hold to close it out.
Just didn't feel like NiP put enough pressure on Cloud9 throughout that round. First 50 seconds or so, they're sitting back on their own side of the map. They're not contesting for any map control. Eventually they do go for it, but they leave themselves with such little time that they have to perfectly take this bomb site. Axel's able to deny.
The previous round, Cloud9 did give no control to NiP, right? They give them 0 control to play with. This round they give them everything, and NiP didn't really take it. Plopsky getting out towards the bottom of the B stairs right from the get-go. He's not alone this time. Team that joined him just to begin the round. Flexing their money here, Cloud9.
It's worth leaving the M4s in spawn in case Those AWPers need to retake one of the bomb sites later on. No reason not to spend all your money at this point.
Drop it all. Coming back over though. NiP couple gathered outside of the beach though. CTR getting boosted up. There's a couple of boosts about to happen here.
We've got boosts on boosts, and Axar needs to be aware of that. Flash in, he's playing super safe, but Cloud9 have got a fair few players ready to react if this B play were to come through, and it's looking like it should be the B play.
Yeah, good pick from Axel. Blinded, put under pressure with the ball. He's going down to default, but he just drops behind the generator. And look at the amount of players Cloud9 have here, Hawk. It's not going to be easy for NiP to force their way through.
Yeah, NiP ran this play earlier, and Brolan was able to get in deep, but this time Axel takes the fight to him. That stops him from getting that deep ground gained.
And you realize now you might need to make a play elsewhere. Rez, he's going to go and make that play up short. Nafany gets aggressive into his crosshair. Tomsky making a play at the B side. A kill pulled back again, and suddenly NiP have the player to the good. And Tomsky's going to continue to try and move forward, but gets taken out. Now it's Rez's turn. Oh, but Shiro has the angle with the AWP, and good luck getting through Shiro. Another one brought down. Throws the smoke into the site. Essetite in the clutch. First light claimed. Commits to the plant, and there can't be much area where he can go here, and Cloud9 have to realize that. Luckily, the smoke is up to allow him to drop back slightly.
Molly into elevator so he can look up above. He wants to play the time. Kit's in play for Cloud9 though. They should tap that bomb soon and force him to come to them.
Essetite's just sitting back. Interz dropping now. Applying pressure by tapping on the defuse. Hobbit is holding for the swing around. Hobbit gets the headshot, and Cloud9 will take 18 rounds flawless in this CT half.
Yeah, big that Axar was able to get that initial kill onto Brolan. We saw that play run onto B previously. Brolan was able to get all the way up to elevator, but this time he takes the fight to them. And then, even though NiP do a pretty good job at stalling out the round and winning a couple of fights, they don't have many nades left. So as they go back to A, they're running into the AWP. And if you don't have nades to deal with Shiro, he's likely going to get a multi-kill. He did exactly that and left it in a scenario where Cloud9 had the edge. And now Cloud9 are just one away from finally securing their map pick. It's not been pretty, but as long as they can get it over the line, that's all that matters.
Yeah, they're going to get the result in the series here, Cloud9 today. That'll be the expectations of everyone. But it really is telling that coming into this, we considered a world in which NiP would take it, right? And that really tells you what this Cloud9 side have been playing like recently. And the fact that it's this close to Vertigo going the other way, they have somewhat recovered. A lot of opportunities to take this and confirm victory on map 1. We now see Nafany go back to the T side. Of course, we go back to watch him get into this position, although NiP have come out to the counter now. So Molly down, gets the information. Big damage, and Nafany spammed down by Rez. CTR gets the second kill of play for NiP, and they're up 2 players already.
That's a real nice counter coming in from NiP. They knew that Nafany was almost certain to make that play. They put the incendiary down. It forces him forwards. And once Rez hears that ticking and the steps made, he can just spam the smoke. The jiggle peek is risky, but Shiro not able to take that opportunity. And they really could have used that pick to get back into the round. Instead, still down by 2. And still literally 0 damage dealt for Cloud9 in this round. This is where I think Shiro has to just try and get a little more aggressive and go for a pick. It's not normally his play style, but it's hard to see a way back into the round if you don't find at least one early frag.
35. That's all the seconds they've got to play with. Cloud9 begin to walk their way up. Utility's still in hand for NiP, and that's a big problem. Yeah. You can just throw it down on default, you can delay access through the choke points. Now Rez's rifle. It's actually going to get shredded through by interz, but Cloud9 just getting peppered and taken out. Shiro leaps towards the site itself. Ball now equipped as he taps to try and pull one back at a time. It's ticking too far, in the round will be confirmed. NiP will at least not come out of overtime in the flawless fashion. They will fight back and get a round picked up here in the CT half.
Well, NiP showing that they can counter some of those early aggressive Nafany ramp plays. And now the question for Cloud9 is, do you want to go for this similar play again? the molly and the spam combo, finding early success. Then that gives the rest of NiP more confidence that they can fight towards ramp because nafany's been removed. Gets them an early 2-man lead. It looks like Cloud9 still want to contest that ramp. nafany's going straight back to it. A little slower this time, though. Oof, a little too slow. He allowed Rez to establish on that angle, and Rez is more than happy to take that fight.
Hobbit. Short now, making their way forward, but overextends and opens himself up to ZTR. ZTR getting bombarded with utility and finally will be forced out with a second nade that lands. NiP contain the Cloud9 side for the time being. Still plenty of time left and a good bit of utility here for Cloud9 to force their way into the site. Axel would love a peek to come his way, a kill to drop back into the equilibrium, but they're not getting that opportunity.
Not an easy shot for Shiro. He tries to land it, but they're going to use their utility to try and close the distance onto the bomb site. Rez looking for an angle. That bomb emitting, and interz will try and plant safe.
They'll have to know where that's planted as well. They have to know they hasn't crossed to the default position. Oh, interz can't get out of there. He's committed. Once the bomb goes down, he's stuck in that position, gets forced away. Shiro's going to be playing from short in this post plan. Axel taking up position at the sandbags. It is the two highest players right now, and Esetag strikes through Axel's head. It is Shiro that has to try and pull this one out. Another kill collected for Shiro. Tapping the defense to put pressure on him, but Shiro's got another kill. And just Plopsky, defuse coming through his planet right for Shiro. And what a way to close it. Shiro with a massive performance, 30+ kills. And Cloud9 will take their Vertigo. They will take their map pick and survive the scare of NiP initially.
Shiro has been a little quiet at times, but in this map he steps up. In this map we see some of that play we're used to seeing from him, stepping up in late round scenarios and winning his team rounds by himself.
Map 2 coming up. We have the desk after the break first.